Hello there! Welcome to Quintessential Comics. I'm Alice Quinn, and this is one of our awesome book club live broadcasts. If you're watching this right now, it's December 10th at 7 p.m., 7:04. We're on YouTube talking about some cool comics we read this month. With me today, you guys say hi when I introduce you. Allison!
Hi!
Diana!
Hello!
And Ricky!
Hey, everybody.
Towards the end of the broadcast, we'll go into a little more detail, like who we are and what we do. But like right now, we want to talk about books because, like, literally, that's what you came here for. That's what we came here for. We got two comics that we're talking about today. For the graphic novel, we are talking about Empowered by Adam Warren. Ba-ba-da-ba. And then for Red Thorn, I don't actually have the physical. I got a digital download from Vertigo. We have Red Thorn. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I love that steamy cover. So steamy. Such cover.
Yeah, like for an old god, he's got a very modern haircut.
I was thinking that too, yeah. We'll get to that, I guess.
Super modern.
Yeah, we will get to that. Before we get started, I want to shout out to the people who are currently getting excited with us in the chat.
Oh.
Megan Carter.
Yay!
Our other half, literally. She's got part of my soul. I think I sold it to her. Listen, we were up all night playing dreidels. You never know what's gonna happen. So, and also from my new buddies at Comics Asylum channel, they say hey, which is pretty cool. So right now, let's jump into Empowered and talk about it. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yay!
Alright, I got mine from the library.
Ooh, which branch? Which branch?
Oh, I just got it sent to my local one. I'm one of those cool people that uses the, like, send it to my local library function. Yeah, I don't just wander around. People bring me stuff. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it for the first little while. I thought that her getting tied up over and over wasn't very funny and also wasn't saying anything. But once they introduced the supporting cast, I started to really enjoy it a lot more. Once Ninjette and Thug Boy, and especially the Demon Overlord came in, it was like way better stories. It was way funnier. It was more dynamic. So I really started to build up to it and enjoy it more.
Diana, I have to interrupt you. Usually, I try to make the things on this channel like totally PG, but this episode is so not totally PG, guys.
Okay.
No kids, no safe for work. It's just not happening. Both of the comics tonight are not safe for work. They're mature comics, so if you have children in the room you're watching, just get them out.
So we can swear and stuff?
If you need it to like demonstrate your point.
I always do, Alice. Always.
Okay, back to Diana. Sorry for the interruption.
Oh, no problem. Now I feel like I'm supposed to swear and stuff. You're like, so I can interrupt you, so you can swear, by the way. Yeah, that was basically my like big takeaway from it. Like, I thought it was a very poor title for quite a while, Empowered. I thought I knew what the joke was supposed to be about the tied-upness for a bit, but it did never seem to land. But once she actually got like a supporting cast and better stories, it was a pretty fun read.
Well, can I jump in here? I actually didn't read the book, but I don't have much to say about it. But I'm reading the Wikipedia on it right now. And it's talking about how it started as commissioned sketches of a damsel in distress. So that kind of makes sense based on what you're saying.
Yeah, he mentions that in the notes at the end, and you can kind of feel it. You're like, oh, these first couple don't have any story, and it's the same joke over and over again. But yeah, about like I don't know how far in, like maybe like a quarter of the way, and it really bumped up the storyline and the storytelling aspect.
Yeah, I would say I wish, so as Diana said, that is mentioned in the notes kind of halfway through, And I was thinking, man, I wish this had been at the beginning because I would have kind of gone in expecting that. Because after a few, I was like, this is super gross. And, I know there's an audience for that. It's commissioned. Now that I understand that, it's like, okay, people asked and you delivered. But yeah, I just was like, oh, she's naked all the time, and in no universe is this body type chubby. We're making jokes about this continually. And I was kind of uncomfortable, and I couldn't understand what the hype was about. But then as you say, she developed more of a personality and more of a life and other characters and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. But I ended up Googling the comic because I was like, what am I reading right now? But then I kind of saw that it would progress and that it changed a little bit, and that as I would say too, it got a lot more engaging when there was kind of more going on than, haha, she's stupid and also naked.
This book doesn't sound very empowering for a book that's called Empowered.
It's really not.
Oh, okay. So is there a lot of nudity in the book?
Well, what happens is, so her suit gives her super strength, but her suit is really fragile, so it gets broken a lot, and once the suit's ripped away, she's naked and she loses her powers and she just gets tied up. So she's naked, pretty naked quite a bit.
Oh,
Not
man.
safe for work, she's naked.
So they also do this thing in the chapter breaks where she breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience. And I thought those were really charming and endearing, especially because I have to agree with the rest of you where it's like, oh, yeah, you start reading this comic and it's literally 10 vignettes of her either starting off being bound and gagged or shortly after entering the situation being bound and gagged just because she lost her powers. So yeah, I found while I was getting to the point where the other characters are introduced and they sort of flesh out more of a story, I found these chapter breaks to be really something that kept me going. Because I have to agree with both Diana and Allison, where it's you're reading it and you're like, okay, all right, okay, this is cute, and then you're like, okay, this is too much, and then you're like, wait, what's gonna happen now? Is there something gonna happen now? But I think as soon as Thug Boy was introduced, because I thought that just how they met up, and they're first off, you don't think it's gonna work, and then it's just so adorable, and you're just you cheer for them, and then it just sort of makes that whole comic more endearing. I don't know about you guys, but that relationship, super sold it for me. And the other, of course, the Demon Lord in their living room, because the super jail couldn't take anymore, so they're have to set him up with their DVDs. I was that's pretty funny. And just the way he talks is pretty great.
What's up with the guy with the cinder block head?
He was only in that one fan fiction-y story, wasn't he? Cinder Block Head?
That's the only one I remember, yeah.
So he
He's on the cover.
He's on the cover? Oh, he is on the cover. Well, he was only in one quick story where it was I don't even think it was really happening. It was a fan fiction. They were
well, I guess he's part of the super homies or whatever, right? He's probably on there. I think the cover is just I don't have it in front of me. I think it's just her team though, and I get the impression that as the comic builds, you see a lot more of those supporting characters. And I found that seeing Emp, as they call her, interacting with other characters, using them as foils or using them as allies or anything else, it gave her a lot more character. So, in terms of those little meta jokes, I found even the early ones, she was a lot more kind of, ha, read my book. And she was very kind of shy and very hesitant, which is also sort of what her character was like in those first commission sketch ones, which I didn't find especially endearing. But as she developed more of a personality, even those little meta jokes in between became, I think, a little bit more confident and a little bit more interesting as she did. Which I thought was kind of interesting and probably deliberate on Warren's part. Oh yeah, there's a Cinderblock guy.
Yeah,
there he is, Cinderblock guy.
I thought he was the weirdest choice for the fanfiction one because it was supposed to be about two dudes making out, and I'm like, he doesn't have a face. Why did they pick this
I think
guy?
that was the joke. I think you nailed the joke right on the head there, Diana.
I know, but I got so excited about like the equality of the two fan fiction stories. If there was like a girl and then a guy, and I'm like, but the guy doesn't have a face. This isn't fair.
Fair enough.
What do you guys think of the art? I'm going through it here, and it looks like it's all black and white, or is there color?
It's all black and white.
Okay.
I liked it. Yeah, it was, it was manga style, but like not manga style. I don't know, manga. I always pronounce it.
Yeah, no, there's this, like, I'm trying to find the page break, but there's a title part where he talks about, like, oh, this is drawn like a manga style comic, which would be cool, except people who read manga don't like superheroes, and this is about superheroes, and people that read superhero comics in North America don't like manga style drawn comics. So who's gonna read my comic? Which is what I'm saying, and I was like, that's hilarious, because it is a really big mix of East and West. But I think that it's really well done, and I think that because it's manga style, it gets away with not having color. It doesn't feel like there's anything lacking, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was anything missing because of the style. I thought I liked it. It was visually interesting, and you can have such fun character expressions with manga style. Like when people are embarrassed, you just go like Sailor Moon style. And it makes it, for an entertaining book, it makes it more fun, I think, in that style.
And I liked the how sort of you could really feel like his pencils in it, even in the later stuff where it wasn't just these con commissions. It was still very tactile. There was something about it that was like, you almost feel like you could touch it. And so, like, parts of it are really cheesecakey, obviously, but that's deliberate, I think. And mostly, yeah, it was just super cute, and their facial expressions were adorable. And I really liked, and I guess this is probably a manga thing. I never read that much of it myself, but the little like hearts in the speech bubbles whenever anyone would be like hi in like a cute way, or say like, oh, I really like you in a cute way, they'd have the little hearts in the speech balloons, which I found really endearing. It's a little detail.
I brought up a page of one of the ones that's just super funny, just because this alien slaver comes and he's like, oh, we're gonna take you to this like alien harem, and they're like, no, your butt's too big, and then she like bursts out into tears, being like, I'm chubby. But yeah, even in this, you could see how they differentiate tone of voice through the balloons. Just like her freaking out, and like she's even got like sweat drops off of her word balloons, and his, it seems mechanical just in the way it's done. I keep clicking on it, sorry. And then like the tears coming out of her mask in that last panel are just freaking hilarious.
I will say I did like the art. I found some of the panel layouts not great, because sometimes they'd have like this group scene with like her and Thug Boy and Ninjette on the couch, and then it would cut to a sex scene on the same page. Like there wouldn't be a page break. It would be like, this is them, all three of them, and then right here is a sex scene with just the two of them. I'm like, is Ninjette still in the room? This wasn't very clear. Yeah, so some of the cuts to sex were awkward. I think the panels could have been laid out a little better, but I did like the art style though.
I don't know if like a lot of that was intentional, just because like of the way the comic started, and also how much sex is in it. I feel like some of like that jarring like scene changing to like just them having sex is just sort of like, yeah, we're shoving it in your face like this, like, yeah, we're just putting it out there. So I don't know if that's like an intentional artistic choice of like just being like, yeah, fuck you, there's sex in this comic. It kind of seemed like that in some of those pages.
Well, I didn't find the sex. I found like the non-linearness to be jarring. I was like, I don't know what room they're in right now. Is it still the same day?
Yeah, the lapse of time was unclear. With the sex, I have to say, I really loved that Thug Boy was, I think he said half Asian, which is like super rare in. I can't think of that many like Asian love interests. Like the first one that comes to my head, who barely counts, would be like Marco from Saga, who's clearly drawn that way. Although applying Earth ethnicities to alien characters is kind of a ridiculous thing to do. But I thought that was really neat, and Huh? I'm sure there's other examples.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like there are, but there aren't like would you agree that there are fewer than there are like white men?
Oh yeah,
True,
for
yeah.
sure. And I was
Yeah,
also,
like I just you see it. Oh, sorry.
oh, I was gonna say just I did like that he was Asian, but also like super jacked. He wasn't a martial arty Asian. He was like, no, I'm just a super jacked guy who likes guns.
Yeah, he loved guns, and he loved going down on his girlfriend, which made me really happy.
He's a great boyfriend. He even gave up being a henchman for her.
He did, and she didn't have to give up anything, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty beautiful love story. That's like, it's yeah. When Thug Boy came in, the story really started to pick up because the story got more interesting. They were a cute couple in all the right ways. They're like star-crossed lovers who made it work.
And she like started to have a personality around him too. I found.
I agree.
Yeah, so this is like their first encounter. I just skipped an interesting page of it, but I really like all those things with Thug Boy, and I also really like how he constantly believes in her and encourages her and is like, you know, you're the coolest superhero out there because you get, you know, captured all the time and yet you still go out there and you still try. And, like, you can become vulnerable so easily and yet you still, you know, strive. And, like, that just, like, melts me. I'm just like, he's so sweet. And yeah, because that he is in her life, she tries harder. And after they get together, there's more scenes of like her fighting shit. Like she still gets captured and stuff, but like there's more conflict, and she definitely gets more confidence. So she lasts longer in the fights, even if she doesn't still do too well in the long run.
Yeah, that speech he did, actually, I thought was really beautiful, too, because I hadn't thought of it that way. I was like, you know, I was starting to almost believe Emp, that she was really bad at this. And I was like, oh, no, you are very brave. I couldn't go get captured by villains every week. I'd quit. Yeah, he made a good point.
Sounds like I missed out on one hell of a book.
It's a real roller coaster ride.
Yeah, sex and guns. This is great.
It does have those things, a lot of those things.
Sorry, guys. I just couldn't find the book anywhere I went. I just couldn't get it.
And you work at a comic shop.
Right? So what is this?
No, but like I didn't confirm the reads and message you guys early enough, so you can check it out and it is really good. And we haven't really given any like super plot heavy spoilers. The plot in this one's pretty easygoing.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's much.
There is
that one.
Yeah, plot is maybe too strong a word, but it's cute.
I'm getting the sense from this book that it's very, like, you know how The Tick kind of started off as creator-owned, very independent, and then just kind of gained popularity? Was that what happened with Empowered? Seems kind of like that.
I don't know too much about the fan side of things. Like, I was reading an article yesterday that it was, like, popular on, like, Scans Daily forums. There was an article at Comics Alliance or CBR, I think. And I don't really, like, I think it's at volume, like, 9 this year. So it must be relatively popular if it's, I think Dark Horse publishes it. Is that right?
Yeah.
But they, like, it must have a reasonable fan base if it's at volume 9, you know? So I think people are reading it and really liking it, and they're really celebrating. Like, I was reading that feminists really love it, which is kind of unsurprising given what we've been talking about. But it sounds like it's a lot of fun. Like, I'd be really interested in reading more of it after that. It was a really kind of, like, easy read, and it was a lot of fun after you got past the initial kind of uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah, I almost feel like the first, like, 5 or so chapters could have been cut. Because they really don't prepare you for what the book becomes eventually, which is just a fun, like, nice story about this girl with a really shitty power suit. But, like, and her legitimately trying to deal with the problems involved with it. So, like, I feel like they could cut, like, 5 of those opening ones, and the book would actually be, like, more enjoyable because you get to the good stuff quicker.
Yeah, or put the disclaimer at the beginning, being like, yo, this changes tone dramatically after the first, you know, X number of stories.
Yeah, I don't know how far it was until he was like, these aren't just commissions and I'm going to make it a book now. I would be interested to know when he decided to make that switch. Maybe like when he introduced the other characters, probably? Would that make sense?
Yeah, maybe.
Because Thug Boy doesn't come into like chapter 9. Like boy gets introduced on page 63. So it's quite a while until you get any supporting cast.
Yeah, but I really like it, and I really like how it builds slowly. And yeah, like we said, there's not a lot of plot, like specifically. It's very general, and like things happen, and then there are vignettes which like tell Spooky Sisters backstory. And I found the page with the guy on guy stuff where they're like in chains.
That I was disappointed about. Yeah. Like that
Look
can't be
at
good for
that
Cinder.
slobber. That slobber.
How do you make it with a cinder block? What is
Right? That's what I was like. Make it with the dude with the face.
Yeah, that was pretty freaking hilarious. But yeah, I had a really tough time after I finished this book, not immediately getting the second volume from my library, because in the branch I work at, they have like all 9 volumes, and I was sitting there on the shelf, and I was like, I want to get it. I want to read it right now. But I was like, I don't want to have my like feelings tainted for the book club. I need to keep it pure for just the one book, and then I'm gonna go and rent it tomorrow. Because I really enjoyed this, and it was like one of those things, like when I started reading it, and I understood. I like going in mostly blind. So like when I started reading, I was like, oh crap, we chose this for book club, and like I don't know what we're gonna do because this is like weird. And then the more I read it, I was like, oh man, I really love this. This is great. I can't wait. And then I was like, wait, I want to read the next one right now, as I said. So I really liked it. I thought there were some parts of it that weren't like as polished, but I kind of like seeing those rough edges because I know like I'll be able to appreciate the second volume more, where they have it more sort of tight and where they smooth out those rough edges.
Definitely, and I really hope the Cage Demon Overlord stays around forever. I think he might have been my favorite part. Just having him narrate their lives from their apartment, it was so funny. He was great. He's just like a belt, and he has to watch whatever you put on the TV in front of him. It's a great character. He was great.
I loved the running gag, too, that he was constantly asking them for new, like, TV DVDs. Like, now, like, you know, you lost the bet, so you have to get me season 3 of The Wire. Like, just the idea of him, like, watching television all the time is hilarious.
Oh yeah, and I like the idea, and I checked the years, because this, like, came out at, like, 2006 at first. I'm like, oh, so this was, like, pre-Netflix. Like, you actually needed DVDs to watch a whole show in a row. Okay, that would be expensive for Demon Overlord. It'd be hard to find all that.
So I found a really good page of Ninjet and Demon Overlord. And I also really like how the Demon Overlord talks, because he's got a very definite tone of voice. And I thought it was really hilarious. And also Ninjet's pretty cool. She's not, like, it doesn't explicitly say whether she's not like a henchman or a villain, but she's not part of, like, what are they, like, the super dudes? Super homies. And her name's written on her ass.
I think she becomes a super homie, though, because she comes over and she's like, we're supposed to go to the super homies meeting.
Yeah.
I think she gets adopted into the super homies. Oh, there's some sex.
Yeah.
Yay.
This is like really fairly PG for their sex scenes. But yeah, you see his Asian eyes.
Does this book have a lot of like urban flavor to it? Kind of sounds like there is.
There's a little urban flavor where they have the super homies, but I feel like a lot of it is just played on for jokes. And they have a black chick who's in the crew. What's her name? Super Sister?
Sister Spooky.
Sister Spooky. Who's like just sasses out Amp all the time because she's like blonde and white and pretty. And you get a bit of her like tortured backstory too. But I feel like it's also like sort of acknowledging that they don't really have like those roots to like actually make those things like meaningful. Do you know what I mean? Like those references like be on point. It's like more for the jokes than like, oh, this is something we're going to bring up because like we can explore that because we know stuff about it. And I feel like they're sort of acknowledging that they don't really know, or Warren, whatever.
I really liked Sister Spooky's backstory. Like, it really spoke to me in the fact that in Sister Spooky's backstory, you find out that all the beautiful people at her school sold their soul to the devil to get beautiful. And I remember, like, when you're in high school, and you're like, everyone's prettier than me. I'm the ugliest one. How? Why does everyone else know how to make up and do hair? And, like, it, like, really spoke to me. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. This explained my entire high school experience. And, like, I think a lot of people's. I think everyone else looks at, like, older people in high school, and you're like, how come everyone knows how to do stuff already? So, yeah.
I loved the, like, subversion, though, where you would, like, any other comic, she would have learned that she was, like, fine the way that she was and all this. But it was like, nope, I also sold my soul to the fucking devil.
But she didn't come on.
Well, she didn't, no. But I love that. I love too that was how she got her powers. Like I missed up at the decimal place. Like that whole sort of demon bureaucracy joke was hilarious.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite chapters.
Too bad. Peace out.
Magic. Yeah, that was one of my favorite chapters, and I also really liked even the chapter about like just. Well, I guess all the chapters are about what female superheroes wear, but there's one where she's like, I don't want to wear this. I'd love to have a cape. And as someone who cosplays, capes are great. They cover your backside, and you're like, oh, I feel so much better. So it was just really, I liked all the I liked the later commentary, not the earlier stuff where she was getting tied up. But yeah, this book really like surprised me through it as it kept going.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff I didn't expect to see in this book, especially like just like. I don't know, I guess the progressions, like the character progression seems so drastic because there was like literally nothing there to begin with. But I feel like they all grew a lot through this volume. And it was really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing more. But we should get on. Oh, actually I should check out the comments. But we're gonna get on to Red Thorn. It's gonna be rad.
The book I read.
Yay!
Okay, Megan is talking to us, or people are talking to us in the chat. I don't. Okay. Okay. Hold on, guys. Or continue to talk amongst yourselves while I screenshot this.
Oh, sorry. I was also reading the chat.
Where do I find this chat?
Yeah, I don't know.
Go to the YouTube page.
So on the YouTube page, we broadcast this live, and on the YouTube page, there's a chat box. And after the video finishes broadcasting live, it disappears, and all the comments disappear. So I do have to screenshot them. So I'm just gonna put up.
Megan texted me to tell me to check, but I wasn't looking at my phone because I'm broadcasting a video, Megan.
Okay, so Megan is chatting with us. I'm putting up on the screen so you guys can see. And Comics Asylum is being all like, yo, shit's getting real. That was when we were like, hey, this is gonna not be PG. I don't know what pull to Megan is.
Having not read the book, I think. I think that was Ricky not reading the book.
Oh, Megan, it's Sista Spooky for a later comment. It's S-I-S-T-A-H. Not even sister.
Yeah, Sista.
Sista Spooky.
So yeah, her name is actually Empowered. That's something she just came up with on the spot.
But yeah, the title's a little tongue-in-cheek at first, but then eventually she gets more empowered. She starts standing up for herself and stuff.
Okay, I'm just screenshotting and then putting up more.
To look like Spider-Woman?
It's similar, like the triangle part definitely fuzzy. Alright, are you guys done reading these comments?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Cool, so I'm putting up some more. For everybody who's watching this after, I will, if I remember, edit it down so it doesn't seem really whatever. Oh, sorry. I closed that before.
Does Megan keep calling you Allison? Alice?
No, you're Allison.
Maybe. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, no, there was one of them. It said that the cover that Allison's showing, and I was like, I wasn't showing no cover, Megan. Are you getting your friends confused? You a jerk.
Oh, I don't know if he's posing to make his gun look like a penis, though, in regards to that comment.
I think it's...
definitely is.
Oh, 100.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yes.
That's just where you hold your gun.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's like where he's like loading it, or like, you know, has his hand.
He'd hold it off to the side or up more. He's holding it in like penis direction.
It's a very big penis.
It's definitely about.
Now that's all I can see.
Ruined.
You ruined Empowered for me. It was such an innocent book until now.
It was so pure.
Okay, so I'm putting up the next thing of chat comments from predominantly Megan.
Sorry, Megan.
No, sorry, Megan. We love Megan. Megan's awesome.
Yeah,
no, but we were ignoring her.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Sorry, Megan.
Yes, there was not zero panel flow, just less panel flow than I'm used to.
Yeah, well, because we're so used to really, like, thought out and put together, whereas, like, I feel like a lot of this is, like, more slapdash of, like, oh, this is the thing we want to do now. There's more comments, so...
Keep going.
And now that we're catching up, they're, like, super silent.
Yeah, come on, Megan. We're answering all your questions, and now you're not saying
She probably left.
She's probably like, yeah,
we ignored her.
So long.
Out somewhere thinking about how she doesn't want to read the book, apparently.
No, we changed our mind after 10 chapters. The chapters are very short. That sounds like a long time, but they're very short chapters.
They are. They're very short chapters. They're vignettes. Like 10 chapters is what, 60 pages? So, and that's with page breaks, so it's like approximately 9 pages a story.
Whoops, we chose a weird comic. It got better.
It was weird, but it was like in a good way. Good weird.
Comics Asylum is saying he got traction when he did a backup story for Joe Mad about 10 plus years ago. So I think he's probably talking.
Hero?
Yeah.
Probably. He's probably talking about the artist.
Which
slash cartoonist.
Makes sense. I mean, Joe Mad stuff looks very similar to this, so I can see why people would be down with that.
Okay, cool. So at this point, we are going to go to Red Thorn. I am going to try to keep a closer look on the chat, but I also did mention to these people that they should check the chat as well. So it's not just my fault.
Yeah, my internet can't handle it, but Megan, I'll keep my phone out so you can text me again if we ignore you.
I don't run the book club.
Thanks, buddy.
My job.
Sass, Diana.
That's really the book club. You don't have to check the chat. Just kidding.
There are so many
the chat open.
rules.
And Megan sassed me out in the chat too when I was like, oh, I should check the chat, and she was just all capital, yeah, you should.
And then she left apparently. There's nothing else after that. Megan, if you're there, type something.
Text her.
She probably got fed up and left. Sorry. But we are going to move on to Red Thorn. I know I've said this like 3 times now, but it bears repeating. Ricky, since you didn't start us off.
Okay. Red Thorn. It's about a girl who can draw things and they come to life.
Well.
It's written as if a high school kid who's just learning about all these fancy things wrote about them. And it's drawn pretty well. So that's what I gotta say. I don't know. I felt like the parts that had sex in them were just kind of like came out of nowhere. This girl's at a club, then all of a sudden this guy's like reading Camus all of a sudden, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Which he's probably someone that she drew up, so I guess that makes sense in that sense. But
I was also waiting for the reveal that that guy was a guy that she drew, but she seems pretty confident she didn't, unless we got like weird time travel coming up where she draws him in the future or something.
or maybe someone
who
else.
who brings a book to a concert?
Right, exactly. Maybe her sister drew it.
What? Yeah, but wouldn't he have murdered someone by now? Because wasn't that the thing that her drawings are like kind of evil?
Well, I think it happened once, and then she didn't know what to but she didn't know if it would ever happen again because she got scared, so she wouldn't draw anyone else.
Yeah, so
Like,
presumably she didn't draw this guy.
So this is the cover because I have it. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too, and I was also like, well, if the things she draws are evil, wouldn't that like apply to inanimate objects too? Like, she draws a person and they become evil, okay. Well, if she draws a table, wouldn't the table become real and then become evil by spilling all the things?
Yeah.
It's very Beauty and the Beast.
Can we like apply morality to inanimate objects?
Even when she created that one girl at the high school, it took weeks for her to become evil. So maybe this guy will become evil in the future.
Well, it's been a year since they met.
What?
A year passes in the comic, yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to that
Wait,
either.
What? I didn't think that happened either. She met him in Glasgow.
Yeah, and it says 12 months earlier.
That was when she was in high school when she drew the girl, wasn't it?
No.
And then a year later she's in Glasgow.
Was
I agree it wasn't clear.
Okay, I don't have, again, I have it on my Comixology, which I don't have open right now. I don't know, maybe I misunderstood. I thought they'd been together for a while, though, before anything happened. But, like, yeah, I could very possibly do
before they had sex? Because I'm pretty sure they had sex, like, almost immediately.
I thought it was all the same night.
Yeah. Looks like it is.
I think it's on the same night, too. She specifically mentions that the girl she drew was in her class for, like, a semester before she went crazy and killed the teacher. So, and then it seems like this one happened all in one night. And also, that guy brought that book to a concert clearly to pick up on emo chicks. Like, it's a wicked play. Just
100%.
right there.
100%.
You know how to get your, like, bibliophiles, you know, is you bring a book to a concert. There you go.
Hey, second page, guys, 1 year earlier.
Isn't that when she's in high school? I don't have it open.
No, it's when she meets the old lady and comes to Glasgow.
That was 1 year earlier?
Well, that's where that's unless they lettered it wrong.
Wait, let me check this out.
Look at like the second page when it's all snowy and she goes to a lady, the Red Cap Garden Hotel. 1 year earlier.
1 year earlier from when she's throwing all these papers out of the graveyard.
Exactly. So she gets to Glasgow and she's been there for a year by the end of the comic. Then it goes, and then the papers is the same night that Jenny Greenteeth shows up at her house.
But I don't think she's thrown the papers at the cemetery yet. I don't think we got there. I think that's like what we're building to.
Whatever. The fact that we're not sure is probably not a good sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Let's just say that.
Okay, I'm bringing it up so we can see it. Please don't sue me, Dark Horse, for copyright infringement. So yeah, it does say it 1 year earlier, and then
well, and look at the
there's
first
a nice
page.
2-page spread.
Look at the first page of the comic. Go back to the beginning. So this is present. The graveyard is present, and then Snow Scene is 1 year prior, and the pages thing I thought was the same night.
But there's no indication that the concert happened in the present.
It says that it's a dance bar in Glasgow. So maybe that is during that year. Sorry, I went back again. Because then there's weird stuff.
Can we talk about how terrible that guy's beard is? Oh, man.
What's wrong with that guy's beard? It looks luxurious.
The guy who picks her up?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know.
He's got a great beard.
Doesn't look right. I don't know. It kind of looks
it's like the same beard you have, but red.
It looks fake.
Is it because it's the same red as its hair? Because like I often notice that in real life, dudes don't have the same colored beards as they do hair.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe I was jealous. I was like, yo, screw this guy. So,
Getting that nice girl in a Nirvana tribute band.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, how are that many people watching a Nirvana tribute band?
I don't know what Glasgow's like. I assume this was like a slice of Glasgow life for real. I've never been there. I was like Nirvana tribute bands everywhere. Lots of Oasis backstories. That's what New Glasgow's like. No, just Glasgow, not New Glasgow. But anyway, yes. I felt like the last page, though, isn't like happening in real time. I still thought the last page was a year later. Or that we didn't get there yet when she's throwing stuff in the cemetery. I feel like we're past that, though. Sorry.
Yeah, well, to touch up on that, we have more comments in the chat. I am checking now.
Hey.
I'm putting them up on the screen. Up on the screen. Where people are talking to us. And Comics Asylum is like, yo, do you guys read the book? It is kind of confusing now that you bring it up, now that we're all talking about it. That happens a lot in comics. You don't realize it because they do so many, like, oh, before, after, with no sort of indicators of, like, when this is. Because also, when she talks about before, and she's like, oh, a year earlier, and then within that, she discusses how this happened to her in high school, and it also shows us a scene of her crazy drawing being crazy. And it's like, well, is that in that year? And then it's like, when we come back to that scene, are we still a year in the past? And Megan, they are some nice colors.
They are nice colors. I agree. I even thought the Nirvana band was not in Glasgow at first. I'm like, okay, we're still in like high school years?
Well, in fairness, in their defense, it does say, like, Strathclyde at the beginning of the Nirvana thing, which I guess we don't know Glasgow, but, like, that's... No, it says Glasgow. Maggie Mooney's Dance Bar, Glasgow.
No, I had to, like, I read that at first. I was just, like, looking at the page as a whole, and I was like, oh, the Nirvana, this is high school, I guess, and then I was confused.
Yeah. They didn't really do a clear job of, like, explaining what specifically she can do with these drawings. Because, like, she just drew the security guard sleeping. So does that mean, like, she replaced him with her own drawing? Or is he, like, gonna die in his sleep now? Like, what's gonna happen to this guard who's sleeping? Is he sleep forever? Like, who knows?
It was a weird jump, because she went to, I accidentally drew a girl one time who came to life, and then I just drew a guy real quick to not go to jail. It was like, it was a really drastic, like, she didn't do anything in between. She didn't, like, draw, like, a puppy first, or a real dog. Yeah. Like, you build up to people, she could, like, that guy might become evil in a few weeks.
Yeah, that's that scene I'm talking about.
Hey, can we come back to the fact that Allison is right? 12 months later, cuts to...
Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, and her video craps out just as she's about to tell us. But yeah, I am going... Sorry, Allison, are you back? When you're back, I'll come back to you on that. But I just wanted to show this page where they made the security guard sleep. All right, Allison, continue.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my internet sucks. Yeah, no, it says 12 months later, but like between the security, we see them have sex.
Yeah, you're right. Congratulations,
Allison. This is weird. This timing, what's happening? Somebody draw me a timeline.
It's not that complicated.
No, it's complicated, man. What's going on?
I don't know.
So then, when that weird swamp monster comes to her house, that's the same night as she's throwing the papers out in the graveyard?
That's what I thought.
It's the same night that she hooks up with this guy from Glasgow a year earlier. So now, like, but that doesn't make... Cause
yes, they've been living together for a year. That's all it is.
What?
Or they've been living together, but they've been together for a year. That was what I got from it. I don't know. I guess we can't tell.
I'm done with this book. Game over. Too much.
Whatever. Okay. What? Clearly there's some confusion. I think that's what happened. Maybe I'm wrong. But I also thought that I'm going to transition us into a new topic of conversation, that I'm really excited for the folkloric connections in this book. don't think they said its name, but I'm pretty sure that the swamp monster thing is called Jenny Greenteeth, which is like the UK river-dwelling hag thing. And they mentioned the red caps, which is also a folkloric thing. So I'm really excited to see them dive into some of that like folklore mythology kind of stuff, which I think is going to be really fun in future issues.
That does sound fun. I hadn't heard of any of that, or know of any of that. That sounds right down your alley, though, Allison, knowing you.
It is. Spooky stuff.
And the guy at the end who, like, she's been commuting with is, like, super hot, obviously, because he's on the cover, and he's, like, a sexy demonic lord.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be some 50 Shades of Grey stuff coming up.
Well, it's not super... not safe for work, so I'm gonna put that up on screen too, because we've already put something on screen with Empowered. So, what up?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that emo hair flick, yo. I'm sorry to all the people who identify as emo. I've been really mean to you tonight.
I really mean it. That haircut.
No, that's actually kind of just mainstream now. Andrew's got shaved sides. My boyfriend, like, that's kind of just how dudes wear it now.
It's how dudes wear it now.
Yeah.
My man's got curly hair.
I mean, not with, like, the huge poof thing, but... Actually, you know what? Andrew's got a bit of a poofy. Yeah, I think that's just a modern hairstyle. This guy's, like, chained up in prison, but he's like, I can still be in time with the times.
Now, is that a glory trail he's got going on, or is that just shadows? Like, what's going on there?
I'm taking it as a glory trail.
Nice.
I thought that his hair looked like that, though, because she drew him that way.
Ooh, and she
wasn't that her waking him up? With her drawing?
Drawing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I also
really
like
that was her interpretation.
I also really like how those skeleton bones are just choking him out eternally. They're just like,
I think that's like the coolest collar I've ever seen. That's one of my favorite details of the book, actually.
The bones collar.
Yeah, just like you've seen a lot of people tied up in dungeons before, but I've never seen like a skeleton neck collar. I think it's great.
Yeah, so, like, that was, like, the coolest part of the comic, and then it was like, oh, it's over. Okay.
I definitely think more should have happened in an introductory issue than it did.
I don't know, I actually thought it moved at a pretty quick pace with, like, just introducing the stuff that she can do, and, like, that swamp thing, and the devil at the end. I thought it moved along pretty fast. Like, it could have been drawn out a lot worse.
Well, it's more that I feel like they should have, like, I think more of a backstory kind of thing maybe would have been nice. Like, it's not, I don't know. I agree. I think it had a pretty good pace, but I guess what I would have liked is if they had started with a double issue, which they do sometimes for, like, the starting issue, you get, like, a double size. And I think that this book could have benefited from that because we would have had a little bit more time to get to know the characters, to figure out what timeline we're dealing with. And to learn a bit more about these figures, because I mean, if you're not already familiar with that folklore and you're just like weirdly obsessed with it like I am, then that's not going to mean anything to you. So I feel like having a bit more space in the book would have been really helpful because you could have they wouldn't have needed to be at such a breakneck pace. They could have slowed it down a little bit, which would have been nice, I think.
All right, Megan wants to know where his dick is.
In shadow, Megan.
Yep.
But we see that swamp dick.
And she's also
swamp dick, and we didn't get hot dick.
Well, they don't want to give it out in the first issue. You gotta wait. You gotta take it away.
It's like mature readers, but seriously, buy more than one issue before you get the R-rated stuff. But yeah, she's funny in the way that she makes fun of us and like who actually read this book and making fun of Allison Legging and our drawing.
Discrimination. Skeletons like it.
You can't see her right now, but she just wrote discrimination in the chat, so that was pretty great.
Well, mostly for like the image with like you can't see his penis. I'm like, why is he even in that pose then? If you're just gonna like put shadows over it, why isn't his leg just covering the area?
Because then you gotta see the trail, right? You gotta see the
glory trail.
Yeah.
Let's just discuss this for a moment. You guys call it glory trail? Because I've heard treasure trail.
That's also good.
Well, it's all good.
Yeah, I usually say treasure trail, but like I'll accept anything basically.
I don't know if I have a term. Chest.
Andrew's really sad about that, Diana.
Pubes?
In all your comic book knowledge, and you call yourself a nerd.
That's like life knowledge that I don't have. That's not comic book knowledge.
I'm messing with you. I think you're amazing.
I think you're alright.
Megan, how do you feel about me? Treasure trail. Megan says treasure trail.
And Megan also says that they wasted a perfectly good dick display.
It's true. Maybe we'll get a good one later.
Oh, you gotta wait.
Yeah.
I don't think we will.
But yeah, initially when I saw that image, he's also like he's chained, so I thought his ankle cuff was like part of his dick, and I was like, ooh, is that a dick? And then I was like, no, it's not a dick. It's just his ankle cuff.
The ankle cuff? That's what? What kind of?
The chain on his ankle. Hold on.
I can't see it. Yeah, Alice, what were you looking at?
Alice, have you ever seen a dick before? What? It looks like an
Listen,
ankle.
I may have married my high school sweetheart, but I know things about dudes.
I'm seeing films.
Oh, you know what? No, you're right. You're right. I see it now.
I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
I still don't.
It's his right leg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I see what you're saying. That's a long dick, though.
I was like, oh, are they trying to make like a long dick? And I was like, no, it's like an ankle cuff. Okay, cool.
That's like comically sized if it's that big. That's like.
But it's an ankle cuff.
Well, it's like a baby on God.
But like, what would the chains be? Would that be like jizz or something coming out? Like, what is that? Like, what are we talking about here?
We're just talking about how Alice misinterpreted the photo.
Okay, we're done with that, because we could giggle ourselves all night. And then Allison Megan is laughing at us, just being like, yo.
So flaccid.
Hold on, I gotta screen cap this shit. Sorry guys, it's like it takes me like 5 seconds to take a screen cap and then actually put it up.
You're super fast.
How dare I? I try. I have this technology thing where like we can do stuff, so I try to do the stuff.
All this technology, and we all get our books from the library.
I know, right?
Actually, no, we all read digital.
I think Alice. No, Ricky had it physical, I think.
I had it physical too.
Digital.
I got the Powered physical. I got Red Thorn digital.
Entire book. Who's this? Okay, Megan, there's not that many shots of the guy with or without a dick. He's not in it much.
Unfortunately.
We're just like spending the whole book being like, where are the dicks? Where the dicks be at?
That's why I read Saga, basically. Just for the
no
dicks.
dicks on this page. No dicks.
This book got a C minus. Very few dicks.
You know what book has a lot of dicks in it? Airboy. It's just like nothing but dicks. It's great.
I heard that.
It's good. And because like the artist is drawing himself in the book, his dick is gigantic. It's hilarious. It's the best book. I love it.
Okay, so aside from time jumps and dicks, how did we actually feel about Red Thorn? Did we cover that?
Didn't care for it.
I feel like I liked it more than everyone else did, but that's fine.
I liked it enough. I feel like it's like a story I've read before. Like it didn't seem super new, but I did like the art was really nice and I enjoyed it for the most part. But like nothing like jumped out about it being super special.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Ricky on this one, where it's just sort of like, meh, nothing new. Like the art was nice, but that's not enough for me. And like I'm a big fan of like, you know, having those stories that have folklore and like weird spiritual, like mythical, spooky, magical stuff. I'm sorry to offend everybody in that sentence, but this it didn't have enough, and it didn't like grab my attention enough for me to like care. So it was an interesting idea, and the cover definitely grabbed attention, but I think it definitely fell flat. Like when you get pop in the fridge and you're like, oh man, is there still like fizz in it? And you open it and you pour it and there's like nothing there and you're just like, oh.
Is that where the saying "fell flat" comes from? Because that's brilliant. Flat pop. Oh my god. Oh wait, it's probably a musical reference. Probably not a pop reference.
That too, yeah. It's everything.
Works for both.
I like the pop reference though, because I'm like a sugar fiend and I'm not musical. So now it's about pop. Thank you. This is what I'm going to take away from this book club this week. I'm going to be like, flat is a pop thing.
You learned.
I did.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start to wrap up. We got one more screenshot. You
Can I
guys
throw
can
out
start
that
commenting.
I liked the book? That's
Yeah,
my
you
defense.
can-
You can talk about it more. You talk about it more while I put
While
up
you
this.
get your screenshot? Yeah, no, I think your like criticism.
Oh,
Allison cuts in whenever she has something really vital to say.
really important to say. I feel like her internet is just like fucking with her on purpose.
No! Or whatever. Allison liked the book. The end. Continue.
Good job.
Thank you.
So some more comments about the penis. Dick count 2015.
Megan also sent that one to me in a text, so she thinks it's quite funny.
Diana, thank you for commenting in the chat. I'm not putting it on the screen.
I'm okay with that. That's just for Megan. It's just for her, even though it's super public.
They're all gonna disappear in a couple minutes.
Oh, that does
Low
seem like
rent
low
Death
death.
Note.
I get that. I can see that.
That's interesting. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna wrap this thing up. I'm sorry that we didn't do anything like spectacularly like holiday themed, but like really holiday themed comics are there a lot. I mean, I know Diana shares them on Facebook. That one about Hanukkah was really great, by the way. Thank you. Was that you? You shared that, right? On
What are we
Twitter?
talking about?
You shared an image on Twitter about superheroes celebrating
Oh,
Hanukkah?
yeah, that was me. Yeah. Just wanted to show all the Jewish superheroes.
So yeah, we can do themed episodes in the future. We're going into our second year. This January will be our first full year of book clubs. So thanks, Megan. It is Hanukkah. I am celebrating. She said Happy Hanukkah in the chat. Gotta light some candles after this. Holla. So yeah, in the future, if we can do holiday themed episodes, but I have to just pre-plan it and come up with ideas in the Facebook page. So, for all of you that don't know how this goes down, I'm Alice Quinn. This is Quintessential Comics. The show broadcasts live on YouTube monthly, except for these last 2 months. I had to combine them into one. And we do one graphic novel and one new issue every month, and we organize it through Facebook. Our Facebook channel is called Quintessential Comics, or QCX Show, and you can go on and look at our recent events, which is where we post the book clubs, and vote on which comic and which graphic novel you want to read, and then we will read them and discuss them in the club. I try to get books that are still in print so people can read them. Something like Empowered, which is in the library. There's been a lot of really great suggestions from Megan, but they're not accessible unless you get them from Amazon. So, yeah, come to the Facebook page and you guys can contribute, and yeah. Quintessential has 2 ends because I'm Alice Quinn. They're talking about it in the chat right now because I'm super, narcissistic and, the worst. Sorry, guys. Diana's trying so hard not to laugh. So hard! And yeah, so that's me signing off, a little much, but you get the gist of it. I'm just gonna click on your thing, and you guys will pimp your shit and tell the people who you are. Ricky.
Hey, I'm Ricky. Thanks for watching. I produce a book called The Black Hole Hunters Club in Deep Sea, so check those out.
Yep.
That's it.
Yay, Ricky.
Hey.
Yay, Ricky.
I'm on Diana now.
Oh, okay. I'm Diana McCullum. I'm the co-creator of Texts from Superheroes, so if you want to check those out, they're pretty funny. Textsfromsuperheroes.com, and yeah, it's in my little Twitter thing underneath my name. We're at Superhero Text on Twitter. This was really fun. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Yay,
hey,
Diana.
Allison, you're just audio now, but still pimp your stuff.
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm
Yeah.
afraid my internet's gonna crap out again. My name's Allison, and my internet sucks. I live in an old building and have a shitty internet connection. Also, I am an editor. I'm an editor at paperdroids.com. I am the editor of Jason Liu's The Pitiful Human Lizard from Chapter House Comics. And I'm editing Volume 3 of the Toronto Comics Anthology, which should be coming to Kickstarter in February. So have a look at that. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm Allison, Allison, M as in Mary, Otoole. That's my Twitter handle, Allison M. O'Toole. So you can follow me there if you want to see the words that I say.
They're pretty good words, man. I also want to do a brief shout out. There was a recent press release about how I'm going to be contributing to Comics Asylum, and they were joining us in the chat, which is really cool. I'm really excited about this. Mostly, I'll just be in on their video stuff, but yeah, you can find my stuff with them on their channel and their website, comicsasylum.com, in the new year.
Can we give a shout out to Megan Carter, our most loyal fan?
We can. Megan Carter's great, and she's a super loyal fan. I think she was feeling a little under the weather today, and she didn't want to join us because she didn't want to be visually here. But she was very active and alive in the chat. And her Twitter handle is Mega_Carter. Like exactly how it's spelled is how it sounds is how it's spelled. And she's super cool, and she does this awesome comic called Godslave, and she previously did this comic that's completed called Takeoff, which is really good, just super great. I just recently reread it, being like, yay! Alright, so that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to more of these book clubs in the new year. Who knows, maybe we'll keep it on Thursday nights.
I can do Thursdays.
You can do it every day.
No, Tuesdays I have Flash for Fan versus Fan.
Oh, no.
I really love that show. It's on the Dork Shelf channel. You guys should check it out. All right, we're cutting it short for now because it's been over an hour. But we in the chat can still chat. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.